Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of Be Different Podcast. I'm your host, Esther Nekesa, and I have with me Sylvia, who will tell us more about herself and introduce our guests.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Mochabo, Dr. Akinsiku. Bradley, please sit down. I'm a parent, a caregiver to 3 boys. These 2 are neurodiverse, meaning, they are on the autism spectrum disorder. So be ready to be entertained and welcome to our realities, because he has ADHD, meaning he cannot settle. He has autism, and of course he will cope in. Mwah. Thank you. I love you too. I'll sit here with me. I want you to sit. You want to sit? What you're sitting?
Utaki.
Okay. So this is Andrew in blue. Bradley, come. Sit here.
Stand.
You want to stand? Stand here then. What's your name?
Gladly.
What's the other name?
And Mom, it's Andrew's.
Andrew is your brother?
Gladly.
Your brother. But what's your name? This is?
Gladly.
Bradley who?
Jabo.
Mochabo. High five. Well done. So they speak differently also. They understand differently. So there are some statements that can be very complicated. So you have to rephrase it until he gets exactly what it is you're saying.
Wow. Well, Sylvia, trust me, you have to start from scratch for us to catch up. This is we like storytelling. So of course we want to know. We'll get here to how your day-to-day life is, but please tell us from the start.
So I have 3 kids. My firstborn is in Form 2. That's 16 years. My firstborn is okay. He's a genius. He likes a lot of sciences and mathematics. He's in a national school in Kitui. So that's Daniel. Then you have Andrew, a man in blue. Then you have Bradley, the one in red. So actually today they've reversed their colors.
Oh, usually.
Yeah, usually it's vice versa, their favorites. So that's how we code the house for them to know this is mine, this is mine. Because they're almost the same size.
Yeah,
they're like
the
twins.
same age. I thought they were twins.
They're only 18 months apart.
Yeah,
you know when you're just old. So actually what happened is I just got Andrew's, he started getting convulsions when he was young, like from around 3 months we were seeing twitching. Then at 6 months he got like full-blown convulsions. So when we went to do CT scan, the night we went to see a doctor, the doctor said there's something wrong. You know, they just tell you something is wrong because now the convulsions had become a lot. So when I was still processing that news, then I'm like, wait a minute. Then I'm told, oh, by the way, you know, you're expectant. I'm like, what are you talking about? Then the next day, 6 months, when he was 6 months, and I was like, I can't deal with it. I can't do this. Then now, when the next day we were going for the CT scan, then that's when we found out he had a sclerosis. That means he had an injury in his brain, like a wound. It didn't even make sense. It still doesn't make sense to me right now. You know, first you go numb and try to process, like, okay, this is coming a bit too fast. Because he was like his delayed milestones. When he got the convulsions, he would forget everything. Like he had started like making sounds. He forgot. He started crawling. He stopped. At least he took a while before he could control his neck. You know, I didn't even notice that. I was so engrossed with. He was always like stomach issues. So he had high reflux. So let's just say hospital was like I had to quit my job. Yeah, sadly I had to quit my job and get into self-employment because it was a bit too much. Because every other day I have disappointment, gastro. I didn't even know there are people called the gastroenterologists until that until that time. Because you're being told you need to see a specialist. Then I had to stop breastfeeding him when I was pregnant. Now because I was told he's lactose intolerant. And then I'm also pregnant. Like I'm telling you, it was a whole whirlwind of experiences. It was too much. Of course, I was in denial for a while, which was a bit depressing and stressful. At a point, I told my mom, I can't do this. I'd rather just get rid of it because it's just coming. I can't handle a pregnancy and this. So she was like, no, you know, you just give birth and give me the baby if you have to. And of course you take time, you pray about it. And I was like, anyway, I'm a married woman. Why would I be feeling? But it was overwhelming. That was it was too much for
I mean,
me.
if
Like,
you have, I have 2 kids, so I can imagine if you have a 6-month-old.
Exactly.
That is when you're even just starting to see light.
Exactly.
I mean, you've just been so engrossed in
everything else,
Oh
no
my
sleeping,
goodness,
all
yeah.
those things. So for me, plus now the many runs to the hospitals,
Yeah.
etc. So it was a bit too much. I won't even lie to you. It was too much for me. But I managed. I'm here. I'm alive. So I gave
Can
birth.
imagine. Wait, so the doctor tells you there's a sclerosis in the brain, but do they tell you what that means? Do they tell you what that translates to?
They never explained, man. They say let's watch until when he's 5, maybe to
5
go
years
away.
old.
So yeah, so we're at 6 months. So for me,
Yeah.
at least the only thing it was like, okay, so that's what they were saying was causing the convulsions, because we were looking for an explanation as why he was getting the convulsions. So that was the explanation I got. Then we put him on medication immediately to control the seizures. And then at some point they were like, of course he's growing, and then we're not seeing milestones. Because you know when you go for now your usual checks, because I was going also to see a neurologist now because of that. And I remember we were on Epilim, and that dawa is not even, it's just disgusting. And I was thinking like every day, and this is like months old, for the next 5 years, as at that point it was like, that target was like 5 years. So I was like, okay, we'll get there. So, and then I still allowed myself to go through the emotions and accepted my pregnancy. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So I just started my business. So you can imagine, you've just started.
So at what point do you quit your 8 to 5? Because
Those
you know,
early
we
5
usually go back to work after, we are given 90 days, 3 months. You're,
Yeah,
you're in
3
Kenya.
months. Yes,
At the
I'm
time you're
Kenya.
living in Kenya.
Yes.
So yeah. So
And after 3 months, I think I went back to work until he was, because I think, before Brad was born, I was out.
So yeah. So you're here, there, then you decide, okay, let me quit my job, let me start my business.
Let me start my own business. Yeah, because I was like, if I'm going to be doing this shuttling, then I need to like be in charge of my time. I remember it was March. It was February. All my job quits are in February for one reason or another. My transition point is usually Feb, because it was Feb and I took a 1-month leave so that by my next birthday, I'm in my next place. So that means if Andrew was born in July, so he was like 6 months old. See?
Okay.
So it was like 6 months by the time now I quit and started, because I was doing my annual leave thing. And then you're starting from scratch, and then you don't have clients, and you're trying to figure things out and change life. But it was good turning points, because at least I had the flexibility and I believed in myself. When it comes to career, I don't doubt myself in that front at all. So
do you want to tell us the type of business? Was it buying, selling, or services?
No, I'm a graphic designer.
Oh.
I'm officially a graphic designer and a brand consultant.
Okay.
And that's what I was doing at the time. So by the time I was quitting, I was running an entire press. So I was like, okay, you know what? I've worked in a printing press, so I was doing like sort of like the middleman for printing. So I get the clients, I get the print sorted, and which we still do up till today. So I started Tech Hub Services from there. I just approached my former boss, because when I joined them, their profits went from, I streamlined, put in systems, ran, so he knew what I was able to do. But then when I left, it takes 5. Everywhere I leave, it takes like another 5 people to replace me.
Sylvia, that's good. Can imagine.
Minus bragging.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you have to be good at your job and teach yourself. That's why I always encourage when I'm doing my mentorship sessions. I say work in a small firm, because you will learn so much. Because where I started from, I started as a secretary.
Okay.
So secretarial work I know how to do. I was doing the bookkeeping, so I understood bookkeeping very well. Then now I got into reproduction. It's a part in printing, so I understood that. Then now I was running operations, because it's scaling up the system. And so then operations, and then when you're in a space, learn as much as it's an opportunity to learn, like anything. Ask all the stupid questions. So I did that, so I became very good at it. When I joined Elite, this second place, then now there I was able to interact with guys who owned now the big presses, and I'm the one who used to take the jobs there. So there was these guys who they took me in, So, and he passed on like, in January. He's called a shock. So he sat me through, this is how you calculate, this is how, understand accounting for printing.
Pricing and costing.
So what does it mean when you're saying 1 rand? What does a rand entail? What is this machine, that machine? What is a one color? What is a GTO? So trust me, anything printing, I have it here.
You have it on your fingertips.
So that's why it was very difficult. So I was running the entire department alone.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're home, you've started your business. Has the second born come?
The second born was there already.
So he comes.
The business. Then now we go through the business. Remember, I started after he had already come.
Okay.
So after he's already come.
The second born.
Yes.
Oh, not the second. Okay, I'm asking about the third born.
The third born came January 25th, 2012. By this time, my marriage was almost non-existent.
I can imagine.
Because it also takes a toll. We had already had issues before. We had split like twice, And at some time, between actually my first and Andrew, I lost a child. Then I got into depression. I tried to commit suicide. There was so much. When they say when you get your first, you're being asked when is the second,
That pressure, I know it.
There was so much family pressure that I was just like, I can just get out of this equation. There is already one child.
Yeah.
They'll be okay. They can handle that one. My friend, depression is real.
Yeah.
When you're in it, you don't realize you're in it. But everything that sounds abnormal for you makes perfect sense at that point in time. So at least I went through that. So now when I was going through this pressure with the two and this news, I was able to get myself out of it.
So the marriage is non-existent, meaning you guys are not even talking.
You're not even talking. You're like, you come and sleep. Food is in the kitchen. You'll enter the kitchen.
What are you doing about money? As in for health, like the
those were the kind of fights we were having, because I was handling most of the finance. And then now I've quit my job. Of course, you need to take it up. Like, you are head of house, like grow up now into this space. I've never said this.
I can imagine, just let it out.
So it became, when I have this child, I have a newborn, because now the second born was also preterm. From when I was 6 months pregnant, I was in so much pain. Constant pain. No one figured out. They gave me meds. It was just not ending. Then the doctor was just like, okay, we just have to wait. Because then I fell sick. I was in hospital for like a week. After that 1 week, they were like, okay, you know what? We have to get this baby out. Immediately, we hit week 36. So I went for CS.
Okay.
So apparently, all the pain was from my inner CS opening up. So my previous wound, because the pregnancies were too close, the previous CS scar was opening. So there was two things going on, because I was having two different pains. Because there was a constant sharp pain here, then there was pain now, abdominal pain. So that is exactly. So they were like, had we waited another 24 hours, none of you would be alive, So I was thanking God that I was actually having a very experienced doctor. So Brad came out, but still the pain didn't go. So it was now immediately, like 3 days after, I was running from specialist to specialist trying to figure out. The funny thing is, I went to this doctor who told me, lie down, fold your knee. Is the pain there? Put it down. Is it there? And I was like, oh, you have appendicitis. I'm like, are you kidding me?
All this time?
All this time I've been suffering. But I was like, thank God we found out what it was. So I was scheduled for an appendectomy. 13th February 2012. My son was practically 14 days old.
Can you imagine?
On that morning.
Now, are you breastfeeding him? Did you know you started breastfeeding him?
I'm breastfeeding, but there isn't much.
Yeah.
Because you see, there was the pressure of the tension in the house.
The pain.
The pain. So that day I was going to hospital. Is the day our marriage ended. That morning.
For appendicitis.
Yes, so I took myself to hospital. I called my mother. I told her, I'm leaving this child. I told my neighbor, you guys breastfeed. I'll be expressing and I'll be sending it. Because I can't go to theater with a baby. So that was the contingency plan. Then I called a neighbor. That time I didn't have a car. So I was like, just bring for him to me once a day so I can breastfeed until I'm back. My ex had the audacity to ask me, oh, that car you're asking, where is the fuel coming from?
What?
So anyway, me, I was out. Whatever I found out that day, I was done.
So
I
that
told my
morning you
parents, I
left.
told the other side, I'm done. I was out. I told my mom, no, this is over. It's totally over for me. And after I left hospital, I had my surgery. I left hospital, I came home, auctioneers came, because now it was plus financial crisis.
Yeah.
They took everything. I followed after them. I was like, you know what, I can't handle all this plus taking care of grown up. I'd rather do this. I know this is kids I'm dealing with. So that's what exactly happened.
So you leave the hospital, you're going where? Home to your mom's?
I went back to my house. Then like a few days later, auctioneers came. So after that, I was like, okay. So during that time, remember, whatever I found out, there was no talking, no nothing.
Yeah.
There was like a China wall in between. So, because I was raising this child in darkness, power had been disconnected. There was no water in that house. You know, sometimes people see me and they don't think I know what it is.
I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, man. So where's the other baby? At this time? Who else is in the house? Is there a support system? Are there people?
The time I was in hospital, my mom came. I remember my sister-in-law was in the house at the time, and I had a nanny.
Okay. But still.
So, of course, when I came back, my mom left. My sister-in-law left. It was just me and the nanny and the kids. And remember, we still have hospital runs for this one.
Yes.
We're still experiencing all that. Then I have this newborn who was in ICU, stayed in ICU, came out, so he's preterm. Then he stopped breastfeeding at 3 months. Because there was so much stress, I didn't have enough. You know, me, I weaned my child. The way they say exclusive, whatever really walianza kukunywa alternatives from that point. At that time, I needed to get the formula, and it had to be that the special none, and I couldn't even afford it.
I can imagine how expensive it is.
So when I left the house after the auctioneers, I had nowhere to go. I went to the next block. I asked, is anyone moving? They said, yeah, there's someone who wants to move. I left my things there. My cousin, I remember, kept telling me, go back home. And I'm like, hey, remember on my wedding day, kitanda ilitufuata. So there's no way.
There's nowhere to go
I'm
back
too
to.
principled. And
You're the one who was telling yourself there's no
way
home
I'm going
to go
back. Like that shame. You know, sometimes there's so much pressure from
There's
community.
so much.
So I was just like, there is no way I'm going back. There is no way. I have to make this work my own way.
Where is your firstborn?
With me. He's there with me. At that time, I had like a newborn, and then I used to tie the other one at the back. Then my other son, he was like 4 at that time. Yeah, around 4. He would carry my handbag. So we lived like that for a while. I left, I went and stayed with my friends for a few days. So you can imagine, it's 3 weeks, and I've gone back to work because I had a project I needed to finish. So, and it was my only source of, like this, if I need to get this money to get a house.
Okay.
So I went, one of the meetings I had with the person who was plugging me in, he was like, he's looking, what's going on? So I broke down that day. And I was like, this is it. Because when he called me, I was in hospital working. As in, I've given birth, mtoto wako HDU, HDU, I'm working. It took the doctor to tell the nurses, can you take away all these things?
You have gadgets? What are you working on?
I had my laptop, I had paperwork, like this job, the job cards, trying to schedule, trying to do the math calculation of costs.
Uambie client ni pesa ngapi alipe deposit.
Exactly.
Utumane watu wakimbie. Oh goodness.
Yes. So me, I was like, I need to get out of here as soon as possible, because the more we stayed, the more the bill is going up. And knowing the situation, there is no damn way this was going to fall squarely on me again. My other pregnancy, I had to bail myself out, and there is no way, because now it got to those ones of calling my friends. Then one of my friends just asked me, aren't you married? Do you know how heartbreaking that is when your friend asks you such a question? Like, you've given birth, like your husband didn't know you had 9 months to plan yourself, etc. It's very hurtful and shameful at that time. That's when you're like, oh yeah, actually, very prudent question.
I know.
Do you know? But I won't go into the details, but that was now, while we were in hospital before I found out what I found out. So when I left hospital, then found out what I found out, that's when I was like, scatter, I'm done. So that, because that question kept ringing, even when the auctioneers came, and then there was this issue, like everything was just piling, and I'm just like, what is happening? So I left things I told the caretaker nikaziacha kwa chini ya stairs. My friend said you can stay. I went back to work. So you can imagine I'm leaving a 2-3 week old child in the house. I've already put him on none because I didn't have milk. There was too much pressure. So I left and I went to work, did the basics. Client made a deposit. I paid for a deposit at the house. Went and moved. So you can imagine, I have how many, appendectomy is like 3 stitches plus the CS.
Yes, how are you even walking?
You jikaza. What do you do? What options are there? Hitting the street is not an option. Hitting the office was my only option at the point. So I went to work and made sure that project ran.
Took off.
I made sure everything was given, organized for the production, settled in this new house. Then, of course, life was not so easy because you see, it's just just jump-started. Because you can imagine paying a deposit. There were things that were not there in the house. Moving is so hectic. I remember carrying things and someone is like, are you nuts?
Are you carrying them by yourself?
Of course, I can't afford. And I'm carrying them
transport.
Where? 5th floor.
Same neighborhood? Or you moved?
A bit of a distance, same neighborhood. Because my child was my firstborn was in school.
Oh yeah, so you can't go.
I couldn't start also plucking him out of school. And I couldn't afford, because he was here in Oshawa.
Transport.
I couldn't afford to move him from Oshawa. It was a government school.
Yeah.
I'd already moved him from a private school. And later on, I found out that after this split, he was going through a lot. He was being bullied in the new school. Because I've trained my kids to be very polite. And guys were bullying him and he didn't know how to deal with it. So I was just seeing he had stopped being that boy I knew. So in the meantime, I'm trying to handle this being alone thing, managing the medicals. I needed to take this.
Mom
This is
to a
the time.
newborn.
Yeah, mom to a newborn. Then I'm being told, by the way, you need to take him for an assessment for autism. We have never known what autism is.
Who is telling you? At what point are they telling you?
At this point, now Andrew, the middle child, because by now he's not hitting his milestones. So of course they're concerned.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
So you're being told this.
How much
other
is
one?
it? No, how much is it? And I'm like, I can't even afford his meds. You're telling me to take. So by that time we had split. We were trying to do this co-parenting thing, and it wasn't just working. Because it is, I need to do this. I can't afford it. I need to do this. Do it. I'll refund you. When it's time for refund, it was more fights, and it was draining. I already had enough. So I decided, cut it. I'll do what I can for my kids. So I used to leave the house at like 9 when what do they call it? Peak season, peak fare has gone down. So I had a budget of 50 bob a day because my office was here in Westing. And at least thank God I had a free office, because if I was paying rent, I'd be so dead.
Yeah.
So I went in the evening. That time I take water, like turungi without bread, because the boys need to, the firstborn, you can only afford half. Mkate nusu, you pangad it, the nanny, and then you go to work. Unless someone calls me for a meeting or a lunch hour, you survive the day. In the evening, I would work late until 10 p.m. when fare was 10 bob. I'd eat a banana maybe when it's so bad. I'd eat a banana and water. So I was like 48 kilos at that time. So this is the biggest I've actually ever been in my life.
Really, Sylvia?
Yes, now I'm fat.
Can imagine.
I was 40. I used to look like a baby. My bone, like if you saw me here, like you could count my ribs, etc. I continued working. I scaled up. I got back more clients, continued. And I was more stable.
Time, and your medicals, did you manage? When did you manage to do the assessment for the
so
third born?
I just borrowed.
It's Bradley.
For Andrew.
For
Andrew.
Okay.
Let's call them this way. Okay. DAB or BAD.
DAB. So Andrew is the second born. Now Bradley, I'm talking about the newborn.
He's still a newborn. He's
okay,
still
he's
not
still
hitting. He's not hitting his milestones.
Also.
Yes.
So you've noticed.
I've noticed, but I don't want to take it. Okay. He was getting febrile convulsions. Like if his fever goes up, he gets convulsions. So it was just, trust me, it was a haze. So I went to the neurologist, and then he said, just have Andrew be checked for what do you call this? For
Autism. Okay.
So where is it done? I called. I was told, okay, I just said I have to do this. I asked him to chip in stories. I said, leave it. I went, because it was for me. I needed to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I took him, then they confirmed. Then he was like, do this, do that, and then watch out for the brother. Because apparently there is tendencies in family. If one is autistic, you have to be careful about the other one. So I was like, okay. So because then one day I couldn't go to work, like my system shut down. So I said I'll go way later. I couldn't even wake up. The nanny thought I'd woken up and left. So I walk into the sitting room. I find my kids in the sitting room alone. One is in a basin, the other one crawling. I go to the kitchen. She's seated at the balcony, basking. And I'm like, is this what my kids are going through?
When
you know?
At home.
When I'm not there, it's a matter of dump them in the sitting room, you go sit, bask, and do house chores, and that's it. Because you see, the other thing I realize with the nannies is like, they don't really care. They don't know, it doesn't bother. They've done the house chores. But I always say, like, your kids are a priority. You have to make it very clear. So after that, the ones that would come in, I'd be like, make sure they give them dawa. So there's this time Andrew had very bad convulsions, non-stop. And I was not understanding why. Because I was just trying to get back into life, trying to give them a better life. And I realized, this time, that was Ijaisha. So I go and check. My kid has not been given. So I keep going to the hospital. He's having convulsions. They keep adding medication. I sacrifice to buy. I come home. The nanny doesn't administer it. Because remember, I'm still balancing the late and the you know,
the fare, the lateness, the
managing,
money,
the shopping,
providing,
stuff like that.
Oh goodness!
So on this other side, I was being called to school because my son. So that was very painful for my son, that he was going through what he was going through. And I remember this day I got so annoyed. I went to the school, and then they're like, you know, kids pretend he's not whoever you think he is. He's so. I'm just like, I know my child, because he had a wound. Like my son had a And I'm like, who did this to you? He's not talking. So I just went to school and I'm like, I need to know what happened. And it was not the first time he had come with an injury. You know, I pulled him out.
That's cool.
I said, you know what, let me sacrifice. Let me work double time, but he has to get out. Let me take him back to a private school. So this is just at least like 1 year now later, because it's a whole long time. So I'm trying to just get into the deeds. So I pulled him out. I put him in a private school. So Andrew, I want to put him in school. And I don't know where to start, because they advised the best thing is put him in school. He starts talking. He starts being able to, because he was still in diapers. So
how old is Andrew now?
By now he's like 3.
3 when you want to put him in school.
And he's not talking.
Okay.
He's not going to the toilet. He's not communicating. So it can be a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
So that means also Bradley was now not talking, but at least he was walking. Andrew walked very late, you know. And then you go to school, then they're like, we just don't know how else to do this. Because even his fine motor skills were not developed. So he can't hold all those things, coloring, whatnot. He was just not able to do it. So you're just paying fees for him to stay there.
Did you just take him to
They gave up on
school
him and
in the neighborhood?
In the neighborhood where they could I could not afford those things.
So he could walk to school.
And he could pack lunch and he could all those things.
Yeah.
But I just needed him to be in that space.
Yeah.
Those guys gave up on him. So they were like, okay, so I went back to the doctor. He said, okay, try a special school. So now it's looking for a school that says that they can handle. I took him to, what's that place called? Surely Kinoregan. What is the other one? That far near Kikuyu. Mudhiga, that side. Mudhiga, actually, Ukombele. Every morning was so cold. Thinking that he's leaving in the morning. You know, those sides are so cold. It was very cold. I still look at those photos because I remember he had lost his first front tooth. He was looking like a bunny. And then he's going to school. So I decided to also start the other one. So I put him there first and then planned. I had to do things in phases, economic. So I'm working double work time so that everyone can, you know, align nicely. So now I put Bradley there. I think it was Sunnybrook or something like that. So he started well. So at least I found a nice teacher. But I remember after the first 2 terms, the head teacher called me. And she's like, this one is not making any progress. I tell you, I looked at that report form, I cried.
So the 2 boys went to...
No, the other one was still at home. Him, I put him in a daycare, still walking distance. Because this one now has to be transported. You have to be keen on your expenses and stuff like that, and learn how to balance it. Because now I'm looking at, if Andrew is going to school and it's far, I have to pay for transport. So if I'm paying, I had to meticulously plan what is being done where, every coin counts. Shopping is this amount, like that. So I did that planning. I would save. The best thing is I would do it that way, then break it down to per month. So I would make sure I put per month. Then I opened bank accounts for all of them. So every month I put it in their account, not my account. So that way it's easier. When time for fees comes, I just use their account and just do it. So Andrew is in this new school, and the head teacher just tell me that everything is impossible. But me, I was happy because he had started, he knew how to say he's going to the toilet. He stopped using diapers. You can imagine packing school and packing diapers. And this is a 3-year-old. Even that thing of other kids, he's in a class with kids who are still younger, and he's still struggling. So for me, I was celebrating that milestone. But the thing with autistic kids, you see as a parent, other people just see what they cannot do. And it breaks you so hard most of the time. And I was like, okay, I was like, let's give it one more term. One other term. And she was just like, you know what, no. Because he was not able to move to the next. I was like, let him just stay. Sometimes you just like, there are more, because you see, even social skills, at least he knew he would learn how to play, he would learn turn taking. And when I used to do surprise visits, I would see him and the way he was just happy in that space, and I'd be fulfilled. But yeah, life is not what you want, and you never get what you want. So I had to pull him out again. And now,
that school.
Yes, now I had to put him in close by school, just like a daycare. Because I was just like, now, let him just stay in a daycare. And then now I enrolled the brother in the same daycare, which was just like a stone throw away.
From the home.
Yes. This other side, I was working myself out. At least things were getting better. I would go to work with my firstborn, drop him in school, and then now come. Then, of course, as things got better, I got him transport. And then I moved him now to, I remember, Parkland Baptist, where he was doing okay. Every school has its own story. I know. This young one, after daycare, Bradley, I decided, you know what, now I'm leveling up life. Things are getting better. I'm getting more clients. My business is getting there. I even shifted office. I joined business networking group. So at least my, that networking increased my network.
Business cards are going out and all that.
So I was able to give them better. So I was able to even move into a better space. But even within this time, even in this new place, I started being given notice. You have not paid rent, So that's why so you're balancing, but then people don't really understand. But I remember one day I just called the agent. I was just like, you know what, I just need you to meet me halfway. I know and I understand. That's why I always say, never. Me get into a house for agents, forget. The things I saw. Let me deal with the owner. Terms and conditions when I'm getting into a house, like, am I dealing with the owner? Cheers. So, because those guys are ruthless, man. They come, disconnect your power. I know we all have those things, but then, kila mtu akona shida zake. So, I'd gone back to that, and I'd shown my kids will not get to see some things. So, I continued. My business was now picking. It was doing better. The kids we see that what people don't understand. If a nanny works one day and goes, my child has grown for one day.
That day has gone.
Exactly. I'm moving.
And it's so painful. Oh my God, Sylvia.
You get so hurt, by the way. You become number. You become number. You get hurt until you can't feel some pains. Some pains just become
just
irrelevant.
like we keep moving.
We are moving. Okay, unaenda. Aya sawa. Pesa yako ni ngapi shika, my friend?
Another one. You don't even
know.
At some point, you don't even want to know that.
It's just like, thank you.
Is it work?
Is it work? And work. After you see this one can stay, that's when now you pay attention.
You start opening up kidogo.
So,
okay, I totally understand you.
So there is this time one of them came. I had told her, you know, when you're on phone, I had some guys who was my plug. Like, he used to change like every 1 week, you know. This one comes and tells me, how kuniambia watoto wako wako hivi? I was furious. You know, when I have tried to explain to you. And it's not like we had not even had the worst of situations. They were just hyper, you know, and they were getting medication. I just told my friend, Dile mlango, don't put labels like that on my kids. My kids are kids. They're just kids. If you can't deal, hakuna mtu amekulazimisha. And you know, parents, we need to get to that point. You don't hold on to someone who's bad just because. Yeah, because you're like, where will I start again by the time? So the other thing, as that is happening, the problem was, Andrew, anytime you change something, he would get convulsions. So any new person comes, his routine changes. It was difficult. And that time I didn't know anything. So I've gone to KNH, I've gone to where, I've gone to all places trying to get a solution and try. Because that time they're telling me therapy. I'm thinking I'm struggling to feed these kids. You're telling me I need to take them to therapy.
How much is this therapy?
Like 1,500 per session. And if you go to KNH where it was a bit cheaper, but there was nothing like therapy going on. Now that I know what it is, there was nothing at that time back then that was going on.
Yeah.
I sit there. By the time Andrew is being seen by the doctor for appointments, because I could no longer afford that neurologist that I was seeing. So I just went to public hospital so that at least that one. But then you sit, I would check in at KNH like 7:30, I'm seeing Uko 11. This child has wasted me by the time. Cried, done this, I've fed everything, I'm over. And remember, I have to. And like this.
Yeah.
They're like, wamefuatana tu hivi. So it looks like you're a mother of twins everywhere, even outside. They ask me, they are twins. I'm like, they're not twins. So you navigate life. It throws balls, you navigate. You either catch it, dodge it, depending on what is thrown your way. And it wasn't an easy navigation. I had to make sacrifices in terms of being with my kids. In hindsight, sometimes I'm like, I wish I could just stay home. But if I stayed home, we'd all be dead because there'd be nothing to eat, you know. And then as they grew, I learned to embrace. I was getting better at understanding. The more we were putting them on meds, that it got to a point, as in that thing for co-parenting totally was like, don't talk to me, don't talk. He moved on with his life, I continued with mine. And I remember in 2015, by this time, Brad, the last one is like 3 years, I was empty. I was empty, like I was running on E. And I started having the other thoughts, depression, suicide, whatnot, and I'm just like, I can't. Then I remember walking into Equity Bank for work, and the lady is like, you okay? I'm like, I'm just dealing. You know, the way chicks can just, if you connect, you connect.
Yes,
you connect
by the way, yeah.
So this one we like connected. I told her, and she's like, you need to go for Alabastron. I'm like, what? My friend had already told me. There's a friend of mine at BNI, Susan, who was the lawyer who processed for me my divorce. But then my divorce was so fast, 8 months done, because it was just black and white, you know. So, sorry, I had a boom. And when I hear boom, my heart stops. Because every time it means someone has fallen or someone is having a convulsion.
Yeah, sorry.
Let me recollect. What was I saying?
You meet this chick at Equity,
Yes.
and you guys gelled, and you opened up.
I opened up, and she's like, you need to do Alabastron. And I'm like, my friend has been telling me, they're like, no, you really, really need to do it. And she was like, I told her, I can't afford that. She's like, no, this is a bank. I'm the bank manager. You'll take a loan. I'm like, I don't want to owe nobody, you know. I was so afraid of loans. I was like, I just don't want to owe anyone. And that's what life had taught me. Because the days I was so low that I would call the people who would say, I'm here for you, and no one picks up those phone calls. And I'm like, I just need to buy naan, because that's the only way, you know. I just want milk. I'll give you my client pays. And trust me, those things when you're lowest is when you know who your true friends are. And anyway, she tells me, fill this form. This is the cost of doing it. You'll pay it over this period of time. And yeah, I took the loan. I paid for Alabastron. I did the session.
Wow. Wait, how do you manage? I've done Alabastron, so I know how
intense.
Yes, it is. How do you do it with all these things going on? Was it physical, virtual?
Physical.
Oh my goodness.
It takes work to work on yourself.
It takes a lot of work.
Yes.
So you made time?
I made time. you have to make time when it's necessary to make time.
Okay. So you enroll. Oh my goodness. Okay. You enroll yourself. You take Alabastron.
Yes. So I take Alabastron, and the good thing about Alabastron, I was able to see, you know, those things that you're like, why do I feel this way? Why am I here? Why did I stay in this other relationship? And you discover. And then from there is when I realized, you know, when they say that you're Sylvia, then you're Mama so-and-so, then you're sister to XYZ. And I realized I was carrying so much hatred inside me, man. I was carrying so much hatred. I remember that time I had started seeing someone, but it was not the right relationship per se. They were good to my kids.
Yeah.
I was staying there because they were good to my kids, and my kids liked them.
Yeah.
But me, this way, it was just not going well. But I was holding on for this
Because
one.
of this.
So I asked myself after the bastard, like, okay, so is this right? You don't matter. It's about. But you see, the thing is, everyone in society keeps telling you that if you have boys, you will never, you know, get loved.
Oh.
No one will accept you. They are boys. And then mine was like on top of being boys, 3 special needs.
Yeah.
So this person is what I was holding on to. With all the Madarau, I was still holding on to. You
At
know,
least,
character
at least you're telling yourself, at least someone is
you
seeing
know?
me. Oh, goodness.
Character development. You know, those ones who are like, why, my friend. Anyway, I stayed there. But then after that, I was just like, it was hard to leave because of fear of the unknown.
Exactly.
So I was just like, but you know, it got to a point.
And you see, this is the first attachment after your forever.
Yes.
This was your forever.
Yes.
And then now this is the product of your backfired whatever.
Yes.
And then now you're here, you have attached some. Oh my goodness.
Yes. So those ones was just, they're happy. I can handle. Like you break, you cry, you whatever.
Happy. And then you're asking yourself, what's wrong with me though? How did I end up here?
How did I end up here? You know, I should have listened. Yeah. You know those things they say that when the first thing a man tells you, should listen to it because that's the whole truth before they start changing. So that really made sense. And that's when I was like, you know what, I'm out of here. And I've stayed alone for a very long time.
Since then?
Yeah, and then until I met now my husband, because now I'm remarried.
Okay.
But you see, the in-betweens is I went for a program called Passion Profit? Passion Biz have a program for I reevaluated my business, restructured it, made it, you know, in the right way, categorized it, rebranded it to Tech Hub Holdings. And I was not doing bad, you know, I was moving forward, I was expanding, and it was the right time. I set goals and I was going for it. I decided I'm going to buy land. I'm going to, you know, because, you know, when you're in a relationship and someone tells you like, dude, I'm too over there for you. Like, yeah, this it hurts. It hurts. And I said, Jesus, if this is what it takes for me to be worthy, let me work on it. So I shifted all my energies to my business. Yes.
So tell me, Sylvia, now, when do you know exactly what Andrew and Bradley have?
I went for that assessment, remember?
You did, you paid for it.
I paid for it, I was told. But then now I was processing and trying to understand. I was trying to do the things I was told to do.
So they tell you one has autism?
Bradley, I refused. They told me he has tendencies. I was just like, my friend, my child is okay. That's why I put him in a normal school. I was like, no, I don't want to hear it. I went for a second assessment later. I remember, up somewhere in Kino. They told me the same thing. He's more severe, he's mild, he has this. I'm just like, no. I took him to Parklands Baptist. I was like, he's going to stay there. The turning point came when he was 9. We're talking about Juicy. After I've worked on all these other things. You know, when you're going for Parents' Day, now I've moved, now I drive, now, you know, I'm living here in the West. And because I had to move. You know why I had to move? What I learned in my journey is, like, Andrew was like the guiding north. I have to put the rest of the family close to his school. How many times was I called in a meeting that he's having convulsions, Zuko Siju Karomaido? I have to start thinking of an ambulance as you fueling Siju whose car to bring him to Aga Khan, because his file was at Aga Khan. So I said, you know what, let me just sacrifice, work hard. I found a small place here where the school is there, my office is here, because my office has always been here in Westlands. I just wanted everything within 10 minutes, because it was, can you imagine, we meet at Ola, you're like this, you know, is he okay, is he breathing, is he what, you know, we are coming. That weight can kill you. Then we get to the hospital, ICUs, whatnot. I do not want those things. I've seen enough of those ones. And the problem with convulsions is you can never get over it. It's never okay. I remember last week, because now we have his teen. We're having new experiences. Like he was just standing, like this light, if he stayed here longer, he kept going close to it. That's why you've seen movies where they say flashing lights can trigger. Now I've just seen it's a trigger. Overexcitement is a trigger. And you're like, so how are we going to, you know, like during COVID, I took them, when now things laxed, I was like, let me take them to the coast. They've been indoors for too long. Dude was having convulsion in water because he was excited. He's in a pool. Next thing I'm seeing him floating. And I'm like, Lord, if I had not looked that direction.
At that time.
At that time. Even Christmas Day, Juicy, same thing. I was like, no, you're going to be in the water play area. The big bro goes to the big pool. He wants to go there. He goes there because he's trying to do that thing of going underwater and coming out. Next thing, flat I'm like, one day this boy will die in water. So now he loves water, he loves swimming. But this is the side effects.
How old are they now?
Andrew is now turning 13 in a few months. Bradley turned 11. Yeah, he turned 11 in January. Daniel turned 17. So you see what I told you. Every day you move closer. So
the kids are growing. So have you taken them to a special school?
Yeah, it got to a point now when I was deciding. Because I sat, I re-evaluated. My income is better. Because the company got to a point now I could pay myself.
Wow.
So now, because I used to just work without pay. I pay other people, just get things, you know, just improve the books. But I wasn't paying myself. But you see, when I went for that career business, we were taught that you are equally important. You work, you're the main person. You put yourself first also. So I made sure that is there. I made sure they have medical cover, at least, you know, because it's expensive. Disability is expensive.
That's what I was about to ask next.
So I moved to Westie, those ones, the old houses, because at least that's what I could afford. But at least I was close to school, I was close to the hospital. That was, you know, you have to also have your goals. My goal was just, I need to be on standby and within 5 minutes of anything. So my office is this direction, school is this direction, hospital is in the middle. No matter where I am, if we converge, we are good. We stayed there for a while until, you know why I moved to the other place? Brad fell from first floor. Because now he's very hyper. Remember, I've denied stories of autism.
Yes,
but Kumbe, he has ADHD. And I don't know. I had no idea what ADHD is. So he was just too hyper. So I remember I was putting Andrew to bed. Then he was talking, because I'd sent the brother to the shops. It was those Christmas times when everyone has traveled. It's just you and your people. So the entire compound was also a chick. I just could hear his voice. Then I had silence. So I'm like, Bradley. Then I had boom. You see why I am like that boom thing.
I totally
so I had
understand.
boom. I think I dropped. I can't even tell you how I put Andrew down. I dashed outside. I found my son on the ground, motionless, with blood coming from his nose. I screamed because I had someone say, whose child is that? My neighbor. I just came out, he was there because I was on the ground floor. He had gone up the stairs, climbed on the rail, he was calling the brother. Then he fell over. Chick. I mean, do you touch him? All the first aid you know disappears.
You don't know what to
all of it, you just don't, because he's motionless. Me, I was like, he's dead. There's that one sleeping, there's another one gone. My car is here, I am shaking, I can't do anything. So some guy was coming in, he said, I'll drive you. I just flattened, carried him. My other son came back. I told him, you stay with that one. I called now the person that I was seeing at that time. Because I was still holding on. We're still friends now. We've cut out that story, we were friends. I was like, we're going to Aga Khan. This one has fallen from first floor. If you can't come, I called my dad. I called the hospital and say, we have an emergency, expect us. Of course, at India Express, ICU, checking vitals, scans. all those things. Then then you know God is there, yeah? Tumefika hospitali when we're in the middle of doing CT scan. A young man wakes up and says, Mom, let's go home.
Oh,
I'm like, do you know I have died ahead of you and resurrected?
Oh, okay.
You know?
Oh.
This one is the same child when he was learning how to crawl, and was at least at that time walking. I'm like, I think our power blew, something like that, the heater blew. So I had to chota in the kitchen, heat with the heater. I put it out. The nanny went and put outside the bathroom, and we had like a long corridor. So this baby crawls, akashika iyo. So like ADHD is hyperactivity. There is nothing that he hasn't seen.
Yeah.
So he has been burnt. He has fallen from first floor. When I've moved now to this new place, boy, because of you see, the other thing is they're not aware of danger. Him is the person, the car is moving and he's there telling it, come, as if it's not going to hit him. Like, yes.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yes. So this day, I think I had just gotten home and I had another meeting. So I picked him, dropped him. Hi, how are you guys? Are you okay? Nah. So I'd just left for a meeting. We had left with one of my suppliers. I get a phone call, come back. I get a call from a friend. I think I'm seeing your son on the floor on the main road. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just left the house. He's like, yeah, I think he's been hit by a car. Ile mbio nilitoka nayo ofisi. And I go, and there is a crowd, and guys are, I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, wewe ni mtoto wa Mungu. Or your guardian angel works overtime. We go to Hosi, check. He had, of course, minor scratches, and I don't know what. And that's how I moved. So now you're moving, now you're like refocusing, like, okay, this is the environment, because you see, it's a learning process.
It is.
No one tells you careful for this, careful for this, and all other things that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So by this time, I've taken Andrew to a special school, and he was doing okay. He improved. You see there, they take him for who he is. They do his lessons according to his capabilities. So he's improving. This young boy, one day I go to school for sports day.
He's still in
regular school. Me, I've been 9. He's
okay.
9.
Okay.
He was 9. He was 9. 2019. 2018. He's 9. And when they are doing their things, they were doing that egg thing. Because for me, I'm excited. I'm like, oh my God, he can actually participate. So I was looking forward to it. So when I'm excited, I'm going to Mama to cheer. He sees me like, Mom, I'm doing it. And he becomes last just like that because he just... See, the thing with ADHD is they don't know how to focus on a task for so long. So now me, I was a distraction. I didn't know. Then now when they were all lined up, I just saw, then my son, and that's when reality sank. Because he was kept in the same class for like 3 years. So everyone said that's the only teacher who can handle him. That was my wake-up call. I was like, this is not what I want for my child. And you see, what I learned from that myself is like, as parents, we are also the barriers to our special needs children because of our denial, our not being able to process and not being able to put them in the right place. Because because I was like, God, you can't be this unfair to give me 2 children in the spectrum.
So you
I had
like,
already gotten 2 diagnoses and I denied. So that was my wake-up call for Brad. So I moved him. I put him in a special school also. And within one term, dude was talking. Like he was, And that's, you see, so if we don't dwell on what we feel, what we expect, what we want, and just let them and love them for who they are, they will thrive. They will thrive. They're 2 totally different human beings, but they're 2 strong people in and their own weaknesses and all that. But like right now, after they stayed for a while, even Andrew started talking. Like you've heard, he can hear, he can understand, but he doesn't talk, like he can't hold a conversation more than like 4 words. At least from last year, we've moved to like 4 to 5 words to make a sentence. But his majority of conversation is, I don't want, what's my name? Where are we going? What you doing? Those are the ones. So if you come here with a mouthful of sentence, he'll look at you like, because it's too much for processing. So you see with autism, sometimes the actual age is not the mental age. So if you look at his age, he's turning 13 with a mental age of not even around 4 or 5. So So sometimes when I see what other 13-year-olds do, I get broken. I'm like, that's what my son is supposed to be doing. That's where he's supposed to be. These are the things he's supposed to be doing. But I allow myself to cry. I allow myself to feel the pain. I thank God that since I moved Bradley to a special school, he's way, way better now. You know, he's now the keeper. Last year, so after all that, COVID came, it was rough and tough. And after it, one of the guys I had met like in 2018, I decided, okay, I think now I'm ready to get into a relationship. So I got married in December.
Oh, wow.
So finding someone, the way people tell you it's impossible, God has your person somewhere. He always has your person. So I got married. And when I look at the progress that, because Andrew was not able to go back to his school after COVID, so I moved him now to a different school. And the good thing about that is at that school, music is key, and he loves music. Me, I went there to even understand how they teach them. I wouldn't cram those things. The way they do ours was do re mi. They have a special way of doing it. So now, as much as it's expensive, oh God, because you have to make decisions. Like right now, I'm like, this thing is so expensive. Do I leave him there? Do I move him? There's still no manual. I'm still, hacking it. Because now, you see, I've been doing awareness. I started Andy Speaks for special needs persons, just to raise awareness and try and see how best I can support other parents, not to be like me or not to go through the things I went through. Because when I look at Brad, the one thing people say what you regret in life, not much of a regret, but I didn't know better. I would have accepted it the first time. Yes, I would have evoked the interventions in good time, and maybe by now he'd be 100% independent, So we started Andy Speaks, where we do advocacy and champion for policies to be changed, so that at least it's more inclusive for the neurodiverse community. And it's doing so well, so far so good. The boys are growing. We're in teenage. Now I'm learning a whole, I'm like back at square zero, because now we have moods, and now we can communicate a bit of something. It's not here we were being told,
he was angry.
You're not my friend. Exactly, you're not my friend. So, so they understand that they're picking social cues when someone does this, it's this. Like Brad is his EQ is very high. He will know I'm pissed off before I can show it. Like I'm thinking I'm doing a good job at hiding that I'm upset, but he will know and he will tell. The other special thing he has is IT. He sees you doing something, he will be able to do it again. He has a very photographic memory. You take him somewhere, the next time you're passing, he'll tell you where you're going. And the other thing is, when the phone rings, he can tell you who's calling. I still don't know. He can tell, like in school, I can call the teacher and he'll say, "That's my mom." And the teacher is like, "Who told you it's your mom?" I'm like, "It's my mom." I don't know, like if a phone would ring, he would know. He'd be like, "That's daddy." He's not with me. He's like, he hasn't seen. No. He doesn't know how to read. No. But he can. So I'm still trying to figure out where I can take him to harness all that. And the other incident that happened last year, a friend of mine who's visually impaired, we had gone on a retreat and had taken the boys with me. My son took her phone, opened it, went to YouTube, found YouTube Kids somewhere, and started watching. So she's like, "Your son, I didn't even know I had these things in my phone." I'm like, "I don't know." She was like, "Do you know he's the first human, apart from any other blind person, who can operate that phone?"
Oh, that phone.
I was like, "Where? Give me." I looked at it, I was blank. I've ever been blank. I was blank. But this child, who cannot sit still to read ABCD, is able to operate a visually impaired person's phone. So God is not, we always say, "Oh, they can't. They can." The thing is knowing what they're good at. So I'm just looking for someone who can help me figure out how to tap into this superpower, you see? I always feel like that.
So is your support group, is it assisting you? Do you guys talk? Is it mothers? Is it parents? Is it
in life you need to know who you are as your personality. I'm a people's person, but my empathy levels are too high. I'll pick your problems and personalize them and forget I have my own problems. You understand? And that's why I do things in Andy Speaks and do it with my everything.
Okay.
So from my mentors, I had to learn what I can take, what I should take, and not forget that I am also a parent. So when I was structuring Andy Speaks, my mentor in this space asked me, are you going to do direct support or are you going to be holistic? And raising 2 special needs kids is not easy. So if I start coming into your one-on-one, mama nani, and I already have so much to do, I will not be able to do it well. So my angle of how Andy Speaks operates is supposed to be community solution.
Okay.
If you call me, I'll tell you there's that one to go to, there's Mama Nani next to you. But if I run programs, I will do medicine programs where it is the program, I put in systems, and you get your support. I'll do the connecting and things will run. I only do extraordinary cases sometimes, like there's a parent who called me from the hospital, and she's like, I'm in hospital, they don't have medicine and I don't have money. Like you've paid your NHIF, but they don't have dawas to give your child, and they're still convulsing. So that one I'll go out of my pocket. But you see, if I was to do my organization like a one-on-one, I would not be alive because I'll be giving everyone everything. So now the support group setup we have, for me, I put it for information. There is other support groups that are there. Not that, yes, it is there. You guys, it's open. If you want to ask a question, if you want to talk, if you want to vent, there is no denying it, you know. But what we will not have is that we are chit-chatting and etc. Our angles are at Andy Speaks is education, healthcare, social protection. I'm that one who I will hear there is an opportunity there, I will tell you guys. So if you're in our spot, you will know. If there is registration, you will know, because I will get it like first hand and disseminate. If there is something new development, I will let you know. You know. But then I also encourage parents that there are other groups where they will meet for going to church, they will meet for going for hiking, those things. But me, I want to deal with policy. Remember why I started doing this is to change the space for everyone. You know. So now the latest thing I have done, because of these 4 years experience as Andy Speaks, what we've done is we've set up a resource hub where what is autism, what are the signs and symptoms, what should I do immediately after I know why I am in the space I am, trying to understand and navigate. So we've done an info hub which has different sections. So you'll go there, you'll understand what autism is, what signs and symptoms, basic management, what you need to do. Then we have a resource section of it where you go. If it's education, we list for you. These are primary schools, private, integrated, you know, or what? These are secondary
Where is this
schools.
information hub?
It's a web-based portal, yeah, and a web-based app. So it's online. It's called specialneedsresourcehub.org. So if it is doctors, so why also we are doing this is from listening to parents, there are people who are quacks. They self-teach and come and call themselves professionals. So I want to safeguard. So for me, I'm working with the mass solution. The other day we had a meeting with the KHOPO, the Authority for Medics, to try and curb the same. So we want to be that voice for the community, you know. So we want to put it all together. So the hub is there to give you like, this is, so the people who will be listing will be people we are vetting. If you're a doctor dealing with special needs children, apart from, you know, there are those doctors that all of us know. So there are those other ones like, if you're new, let me see your credentials, especially with these new interventions that are there. We're having so many people, because I shadowed you for like 1 month, all of a sudden I've become you. And I'll charge cheaper and take your clients. Then this mother is crying that I've been paying and I'm not seeing any, because that's not a professional. So that's what we'll be doing. For the schools we don't know, we want to come and check. Is it safe for the kids? Is it, you know, is it correct before we list? It's not a marketplace just for placing. We have to verify you. and you have to pay for us to be able to do that, you know, so that also it is sustainable at the end of the day. And we're still looking for donors who can be able to support us to ensure that we safeguard the health and wealth of caregivers and special needs persons, and also give them information that is good for them. And there is the caregivers portal where now the other support groups, we will list them. Are you a parent for CP? I want to join other parents. We put for you the link. This is the group. Ask to join. If it is on Facebook, these are the groups on Facebook. So yeah, we are your plug.
Yeah, that's really nice. I hope you can write it down. Special needs.
www.specialneedsresourcehub.org.
Okay.
So I'll also give you an e-shot. So then we also have the place for assistive devices. So like things you can purchase to help your child learn this, help your child refine motor skills. If it's therapy from home, you want the therapy ball, you can order it online. If you want a standing aid, a sitting aid, you know, then in the long term, this is the vision we have. We want to have like, if it's things that parents can do, handwork, or people with disability, we hope to get funds to open that so that people can come, like create employment for parents also. So if you're a parent with any of the skills, tailoring, woodwork, you know, then you can come and we teach you how to make these learning support materials.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we hope to be able to supply them to schools and, you know, and other parents, etc.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness, Sylvia. I am so overwhelmed. I must hug you after this. And I wish you well. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Do you have a parting shot?
The greatest lesson for me, I think, has been you are the only voice for your child, especially for when they cannot speak. Take time to study. If you see something different, take time to see. And then those moments for being discouraged are there. But just a reminder, embrace your child for who they are and not what you wanted them to be. You know, I think that's the greatest lesson, and I keep reminding myself also, and hoping that one day I'll be 1001% okay. But we are allowed to want what we want, you know.
Sure.
But you do your best at the same time to give your child the best. Learn. We've put for you information on that resource hub. You can go on there and advise us on, we forgot this, this one you don't feel is right. We're not perfect, you know. We're just trying to make sure you get everything. And we will walk with you through the journey. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Sylvia. You guys, you must check out, is Andy Speaks, is it anywhere? Does it have
we have a website.
Okay.
And even from our website, Andy Speaks for specialneedspersons.org.
Okay.
Even that other site is plugged in.
Okay.
You can see all our projects, you can see the past projects, you can see where we need support. If you're a donor, please, you're welcome.
Yeah. Sure.
We've just done the 540 kilometers for autism awareness. And let me tell you the craziest thing. I will just take you back as much as time is gone. So when we were in Kilifi, I walked to these kids and they were talking that other language, and I asked them, do you know someone who's different, this who's like this? And all of them like, yeah, we know someone. So it doesn't matter what age, you know. I went to these guys of Boda spreading the flyers. I went to the shops, left them flyers so they can be able to give, because you know how Shago is, it's like the front, then there are so many others. So the highlight was one of the bikes had an issue, so we parked. Then I had singing. I told my guys of them, and that's a church, I'm going. They thought I was mad.
You went?
I went. I picked my flyers, I walked into the church. So I waited, the Pasi finished saying what he was saying. Then I walked in, I was like, Abari Zenu, this is a mad hat with holes and whatnot, but I could see parents and children. So I said, today is World Autism Awareness Day, and I would like to talk to you about something called ABCD, Tawahudi. And all of them are looking at me like, Tawa, what? You know, you're thinking that is the Swahili zone. So no one had heard about it. So I started explaining what it is. And you know what? Why this ride for me was ultimately fulfilling? Right there in front of me was a child with autism. And the parent had no idea. No idea whatsoever. The child was just staring, you know. So if anything, at least out of the 540,
for that
one life, one child's life is going to be different. That made it worth it for me.
Wow.
That was it.
Same as us, guys. We usually say for that one person. By the way, we tell our stories for that one person, for that one life, for that one mother, for that one child, for that one father. Oh my God, Sylvia. I think this will live with me for so long. You are such a brave soul.
Thank you.
I wish you well.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being vulnerable with us and for sharing your story here on Be Different. Guys, like, comment, share. Please look for Andy Speaks. You know someone, please share this content. It will help someone. It must save a life, right? Thank you and bye-bye.